Hey everyone, this is Andrew Kissin, Senior Marketing Manager with Zahn Dental. We're here with Ira Rosenau, President, Keystone Dental Group. Ira, we're in month 2 of pandemic, a little bit of a shutdown. What has it been like for Keystone, or what kind of measures have you and the company taken throughout all of this?
We've taken a number of steps, Andrew, from whether it's how we address and protect our work environment and our employees, to also what we can do for society and the community and for our business at large. So we've taken commercial steps to pivot our manufacturing into products that can help greatly during the pandemic crisis. And then we've also taken steps internally to ensure that we've got a safe work environment for our employees. We're an essential business here at Keystone, so we have been open. We have a number of front office people working at home, but our production workers are here, and we're taking a lot of steps to ensure that they have a safe and healthy environment as much as we can.
On the manufacturing side, a company that's here making a different variety of materials for the dental industry, but also other industries, how have you been able to pivot so successfully from maybe dental manufacturing to being able to manufacture other items that help the local community?
That's a great question, Andrew. I think one of the things that people may not realize about Keystone is the other vertical we're in a significant way is cosmetic nail coating. So across all of our manufacturing platforms, we have a very diverse and complementary set of manufacturing capabilities. We've got very talented scientists, engineers on staff. And one of the real strengths of Keystone is being able to nimbly react to changes in environment or market conditions, to be able to quickly figure out how to do something and capitalize it. So we're not so big that it's too hard to turn our ship quickly. We're able to be nimble. And so we really took two approaches during the COVID-19 crisis to focus our manufacturing resources and capabilities in terms of helping out society and helping our business keep our lights on and our people employed. The first thing we did, which was massively impressive, just in my opinion, was in a 30-day period, we formulated, tested, and scaled manufacturing hand sanitizer in bulk. Since we really commercialized at the beginning of April, we've made hundreds of thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer and have commercially put it into the marketplace to help people with a great shortage during the crisis and being able to take care of their personal health and their hygiene. And the beauty of that is that's a product that will stay in demand and really complements both our dental and our cosmetic businesses. So we very quickly figured out and established a supply chain and have been able to make hand sanitizer at some scale. And it's really one of the strengths of our business to figure out supply chain, manufacturing, and engineering as quickly as possible and to scale up in a safe and effective way. The other thing we did, which was not as complicated at first blush as making hand sanitizer from scratch, was being able to take our Keystone soft material and utilize them for making nasal swabs for COVID-19 tests. Everybody knows there's been a massive shortage of testing swabs in the marketplace. And you've got 3 or 4 printer companies and their material partners who have jumped in to create designs, test, have clinical studies, and commercialize nasal swabs to help with the shortage during the COVID-19 crisis. So Keystone Soft, we're working with our partners at Carbon and through a medical device packager in Minnesota called Resolution Medical to commercialize the Keystone Soft product for a nasal swab application. And we are scaled up and working through our partner network to manufacture nasal swabs at scale. And we continue to work with some of our other printer partners to do it with our tinted material as well. Those are probably the 2 biggest initiatives Keystone's undertaken in the last month and a half to pitch in during the crisis and also to help use our skills and abilities as a manufacturing company of medical devices to being able to commercialize and help out during the crisis as quickly as possible.
On the manufacturing side and being able to successfully shift and go from one focus to another, what does that mean for a manufacturer with raw materials and just the supply chain network, is it taxing, or is it just as easy as, okay, today we're going to do this, tomorrow we're shifting focus, and then who knows, maybe day 3, we're going back to what our original focus was?
Everybody who works with me at Keystone has heard me joke over the last several months that I've removed the word easy from my vocabulary, because really nothing about this is easy. All of our projects are difficult, time-consuming, and complex, even the ones that look easy at first blush. These projects were no different. The nasal swab, we already had a project ready to go, but orienting it for a nasal swab application and proving it out in a different environment and different geometry was a little bit more complicated than it looked at first blush. Same thing with the hand sanitizer. Supply chain is always tricky. Managing and dealing with raw materials that have shelf life, have import issues, have supply issues, have delivery issues. Managing that complex web of vendors to make sure we have enough materials in-house to make the products we need to make is complicated. It's really one of the strengths of our business. It's not one that's very sexy to talk about when we talk about with our business with people, but our supply chain and our vendor relationships are long-standing and deep. We're able to leverage those relationships and quickly pivot to get raw materials when we need them. It can be difficult. Sometimes there's a premium to be paid for fast delivery. But managing that chain is something Keystone does very well. We've got 4+ storage tanks in our tank farm here, and we are now filling them up with ethanol for hand sanitizer manufacturing. The fact that we have that infrastructure in place and the supply chain in place to leverage those relationships to get product quickly, to allow us to put medical devices and other products into the field quickly, it's a real strength, and it is difficult. It is difficult to manage, for sure, particularly in an environment where everybody's scrambling to get some of the same raw materials.
Taking this back to the dental lab industry, as more and more states start to reopen, how do you think the dental lab industry will unfold over the next few months? What kind of challenges or opportunities, because there will be opportunities out of this, do you think your average dental lab or technician might be able to implement or take from what we might call post COVID-19?
It's a fantastic question. So let me break it down just a little bit. I think that the dental lab business is going to track along with the dental office business. So a lot will depend on how quickly dental returns back to its norms. We see as states are starting to open up, people are starting to get ready to get back to business. Dentists are starting to get busy, and that'll quickly convert to the labs. I think the labs are going to have learned a lot in this environment. I think one of the more interesting aspects is sort of the digital stuff. As labs in March and April were forced to go through reductions in staff because work had dried up, labs who stayed open were able to keep producing with less hands and less bodies by utilizing some of their investment in digital technologies. Our friends at Drake Dental, North Carolina, called me and told me a great story about Keysplint Soft and the carbon system. They've been planning to adopt Keysplint Soft for a while. It was a little bit in their workflow to get it up and running. But when the crisis hit and they laid off all their staff, they still had a pretty big backlog of night guards and splints to go through. That lab completely converted over to digital technology using Keysplint Soft. And frankly, Drake called and said, we're probably not going back. The product's working so well and the workflow is working so well. So I think that example of a story that is happening in a lot of different labs, that they're realizing the investment in digital technologies will continue to pay off with people who have to work remotely, who have to do design remotely, and who have to fabricate in a way that's slightly different than normal workflows. The digital workflows allow a lot of that to happen in pieces remotely so that you can do production and design without having a lab full of people who are 6 feet or less within each other. So the digital technology allows for social distancing, allows for safe workflow, and allows labs to stay productive. So one of the things I've seen, and as I talk to labs that I expect will change a little bit, is further adoption of digital technologies as working environments and situations alter a little bit.
Totally agree. I think a lot of labs and technicians, it seems, have taken this time to review or take out some education and just see what the opportunities are to, maybe have less people in the lab, but doing the same amount of work, maybe using CAD CAM. So it seems like, this might continue to drive the digital adoption, at least on the lab side. And then on the clinical side, the opportunity for intraoral scanners could continue to drive that.
You're right, Andrew. I think you will see those technologies continue with their adoption in this new environment. Look, we don't want labs to lay off techs who've been in the industry for years, who have a ton of knowledge. We do not want to see labs consolidate or reduce out, but that may happen regardless of whether we want to see it or not. And the labs who've been smartly positioned to take advantage of some of the digital technologies will be in a better position to survive the crisis than a few of the other more traditional labs who have been slower to adopt it. The other thing we've seen, and I think you just mentioned, is we've seen both labs and doctors heavily involved in the last 5 weeks in pursuing education. While there has not been revenue-generating business in the offices or the labs, the professionals have taken advantage of the time to continue to educate themselves on new practices, new procedures, and also what the world's going to look like post-COVID-19. I think everyone's trying to struggle with what's the new normal. And I think that's everyone, dental labs and offices included.
Just to close, do you have any advice or recommendations to manufacturers, suppliers, dental labs of, how to take this, and what you said earlier is maybe not just survive, but thrive to come out on the other end when this is all, maybe a little further down the road?
It's hard. I think my biggest piece of advice to all businesses is take your blinders off. Doing things the way you've always done them in normal times isn't always the best practice. And in a very chaotic and changing environment, approaching your business in the same manner, I think, is probably a mistake. And it's hard for people to get outside their comfort zones and think creatively. And also there are restraints on that, namely being one. People need to have resources to be able to pursue new lines of business and new opportunities. One of the things Keystone's always done well is build up infrastructure so that we can internally take advantage of changes in the environment or new opportunities. Not all businesses are set up for that, but mindset is something everybody can be set up to shift. And in this new environment, I think people need to be thinking about what does it mean to have a healthy and safe work environment? What do I have to invest in terms of keeping my employees safe and keeping my business profitable? There are going to be new opportunities for manufacturing. There are going to be new opportunities for dental labs and doctors on how they approach their business. You're going to see business models shift. You might see more direct-to-consumer type businesses. You're already seeing a ton, even in other sectors like food delivery. Supermarkets may never go back to being what supermarkets were, given what some of the food delivery systems have done over the last 6 to 8 weeks. So my biggest piece of advice to all businesses, manufacturing, dental, non-dental, is take a little time, have some quiet time, and think about how your business environment has shifted and where it may be going in the next 12, 24, and 36 months. It's a new normal for all of us, and that creates new hurdles and new opportunities. And the businesses that adapt and are creative in trying to figure out how to survive in a new environment will be the ones who become leaders and ultimately do survive.
Ira, we are really all in this together. This dental lab industry is so unique that competitors, suppliers, everyone really kind of lets their guards down and really works together. And I think that times like this, we really show moving forward how unique of an industry dental lab is. So really appreciate your time and everything you and the Keystone Dental Group continue to put out there to help not only the dental lab industry, but also communities kind of get through this. So really appreciate the time.
Well, thank you, Andrew. We're really grateful to have good partners like Zahn and Henry Schein. Henry Schein clearly has been doing its part to pitch in during this crisis as well. And as you mentioned, there are plenty of people who we regularly compete with who we're finding ways to collaborate and be helpful with. So we are all in this together. There will come a time when business will return somewhat to normal, and everyone will start looking at internally at their own needs and their own demands. But right now, it's a time for looking out for your fellow man and woman, making sure everybody is safe, and then also figuring out how can we use some of our strengths in our business or other businesses to both help society and then ultimately help our business and our employees as well. So we're really grateful to have great partners like Zahn and to have forward-looking companies who are taking a similar approach.
Great. Thanks, Ira. Stay safe.